experience is the experiment.
Today's guest hails from Miami, Florida, but has since settled down and found his home in Los Angeles, California. He might be the greatest guitar player I've ever been in the room with, and definitely is the greatest guitar player that's ever roamed this beautiful planet that we call home. Please welcome one of my favorite people, a very, very good friend of mine, and an incredible artist. Please welcome today's guest, Pretty Ridiculous.
Thank you for having me, man. Really?
I can't believe that that we're now having you on, because you've been
I
here
know.
more times. You've probably been to the studio more times than most people.
Yeah, we've smoked a lot of weed in the studio.
We smoked a lot of weed in this. We're gonna smoke more weed in the studio.
And my favorite thing about coming and hanging here is just it feels homey. It feels nice and relaxed. My favorite thing to do, and I'm pretty sure you've already picked up on this, is just playing guitar. It's
Yeah.
just hanging out with people and playing guitar. And every time we're here, I think that's all I really do.
That's the
You've
goal.
got- I could count 15 guitars just looking to my right.
And we try to not, like, most of the time you come, we don't even record. Like, the goal is for us to just play music and jam, and like that's kind of how this community of people that we kind of hang out with has started, is just through the love of music and playing music.
It has been. I tell everybody about the I guess Shabbats, for lack of a better term, and I'm trying to bring more people. We had the Noahs here.
Absolutely.
I think
he's so sick too.
I hate both of them. They're so good. They're smart, funny, charming. How dare they also be
One's
great
a
at what they
fucking
do?
amazing guitar player / does and plays everything else. The other is one of the sickest drummers.
I know.
Dude, he's such a good person.
He's a great guy. Did you hear us Zeppin?
Oh yeah.
That was so fun.
Dude, he had
man.
it down perfect.
He's
He had
like
that
a
bottom
little-
feel.
He's a little bottom.
Yeah,
That's
he
why I
really
love playing
has
with him.
like those like diggity
He just
those
nails
weird
it,
little
dude.
flammy kick drums.
He's so
um,
good, man.
So I am lucky enough and blessed enough to know you well, but these beautiful people might not. So please tell them who you are.
So my name is Stone, and I have an artist project called Pretty Ridiculous, and it's basically a band that's not a band. If we were to sort of go back to the beginning, the genesis of this craziness, as you said earlier, I was born in Miami, Florida, and I started playing guitar when I was 5. I heard Van Halen 1, and I basically just like begged my dad to buy me a guitar. So my first guitar is a shitty black Washburn that we painted to look like the Frankenstrat.
Oh shit.
I still have it, and it's actually pretty okay for a first guitar.
First
And-
guitars back then were so much more quality than first guitars now.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, man. They've mass manufactured guitars, and they've found a way to do it so it's kind of this cookie cutter assembly line of wood and metal, and then at one end you get, no music, and at the other end you get some music. And I'm
Yeah.
not a huge fan of a lot of the lower end guitars, as you kind of know. Sitting in that case over there, I have my nicer guitars.
And sitting on these stands, I have the lower
Lower
quality.
quality guitars. They kick ass, man. If you find a good shitty guitar, it will say something,
Yes.
but it might be a little harder to play.
That's the thing,
know?
is there is a quality of playing that's outside of just what comes out sonically.
Yeah.
Like there's a feel to it, and the way it moves, and I don't know. There is something like your guitar feels different. There is something about it that everything about it that just feels nicer to play.
It was very expensive.
Yeah, that'll do
That
it.
was probably it. Well, I've been on the hunt for like the old stuff. I love the old vintage guitars, which is so
Absolutely.
funny because they're like $200
Yeah.
in like 1974, and now they're like $8,000, which
Yep.
is like, okay, I don't know if I can swing that, man.
It's so crazy how high the value goes up and how well they hold.
Yeah, they
Just
do
the
a good job.
retention on they're a great investment.
They really are if you get the right one.
Yeah.
But if you a lot of people, I'm not a Joe Bonamassa fan, but he said something I thought was pretty clever, where it was like, look, if you're gonna pitch it after you buy it, definitely don't buy it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna take the neck off and check the dates, don't buy it. And it's true. It's meant to be fucking played.
Absolutely.
My guitars look pretty fucked up. You've seen the green one.
Yeah.
I love that thing. It was not. I mean, I bought it relic, but
It's
it
been shredded upon.
is way worse now.
Yeah.
it's
It's
so
definitely
bad.
got its use.
I love that thing. I haven't played it in a while.
So by the way, I introduced you as Stone and not Pretty Ridiculous. I
That's
just
okay.
thought about that.
It's all the same.
Well, we can also just change it. Nobody will know.
Fuck yeah.
They'll know now, but
Yeah.
no, you don't. Fuck you. You're good people. um, so, Mr. Pretty Ridiculous. So, explain what you make, because what you make is this, from my experience and my ears, is a mixture between this influence of metal, this influence of shredderitry, this influence of rock, even a songwriting influence, because the use of words and the word choice is very, very important to how the song works. But then also this cinematic quality to it. Like
Yes.
it's almost like if there was a movie score that got mixed with like a metally sort of track that had poetic lyrics to it.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. By the way, Mr. Pretty Ridiculous is my father. You can just call me
Mr. Pretty
Ridiculous. You just call me Ridiculous. But yeah, the honestly, the genesis of a lot of these ideas comes from what I don't know how to do.
Yeah.
You know, when I started producing over the pandemic. I had never really touched Ableton or even Logic. I've had, maybe fucked around in GarageBand like you do. But I was what I'll refer to as a Luddite. I was very afraid of the technology, and I was just a guitar player all throughout college. And when I moved out here, I kind of figured out pretty quickly that that's just not going to cut it. And I was in a band, and I was really sick of my ideas kind of not being able to just flow out. I always had to refer to a third party in order to get what I wanted. And it was always somewhat, if at all, removed from what I initially wanted. And it started to really concern me in a creative standpoint. I was like, fuck, I really want to make this wild amalgam of all the things I really enjoy, and I have to defer to this other individual, and their taste will begin to dictate what comes out. And not to say I'm not a control freak by any measure, and you could, no,
but it's art, and there is a form of self-experience that you're putting in that if you're not conveying if you're not conveying properly and fully, sometimes the message isn't done correctly, and you're not getting out what should be there. Precisely. And something that could be great could be shit if you don't get the message out correctly.
After many years, I was in this band Lithic, and I mean, you could see the name Lithic Stone. The name is pertaining to Stone. It was job security. That's all it was. I didn't want to get booted, so I could kind of fuck up and do maybe 80% of the job I needed to do instead of 100, and I would keep the gig.
Yeah.
But I had initially realized within that group, okay, I got to sing. So I started singing my freshman year of college. Never sang before that. And that sort of snowballed into, okay, now I have to produce, many years later. If I want to have the clearest sort of line between ideation and conception, I need to do as much of it as possible. So I started futzing around. Now, when I started producing, I honestly did not know samples were a thing. I had no fucking idea.
Really?
I had no clue that you could just go get a drum sample or a loop. I thought, really did, that everybody did their own sound design. So I started designing my own sounds, making my own kicks, got pretty good at Serum.
Making my own kicks.
Yeah, so what you can do in Ableton, and I love to do this, and I do it all the kicks you hear in the songs is the same process. You take the auto filter, and it works kind of like the Korg, where it will self-resonate when you set the resonance all the way up, and then you just send a signal. So what I like to do is use the vinyl distortion plugin, stock Ableton plugin, and you just turn it on, give it some drive, and it will send a pulse to the filter, and it'll oscillate at whatever speed you set the filter to. Then you just take that, you pick 30, somewhere but sub-frequency.
30, 50.
Yeah, just something wherever to your taste at that moment. And obviously, there's like 15 other steps. You have to compress it. You have to, add some, what's the word?
Transient.
Not a transient, because it already has a transient. I'm trying to think. Saturate it. And then you color it, EQ it, add some distortion. And then I like very obscene, kind of scary sounds. I love it. And you mentioned that with the cinematic thing. I love, particularly like the Ari Aster films, like Midsommar and Hereditary.
Absolutely.
And that sort of elevated horror thing where the scores are always brilliant, and the art in the film rather is remarkably cohesive. There's a statement, there's an identity, just to the atmosphere, and
Well, that's the part of your music that is so bold and out there, is the fact that you're willing to convey emotion spatially and sonically outside of just verbally,
yeah,
which is huge. And you legitimately do it. You some of the shit in your music, I have to listen to 5 times to understand that it was 5 parts to create this one storyline.
yeah.
And
Thank you.
It's very impressive. Very
Thank you
impressive.
very much. It's always fun. It's always fun to make, and what I want to give people. I was having this talk with actually Noah, guitar player Noah.
Yeah.
If you're listening, Noah, I fucking hate you. You're so goddamn good.
He's
You
so good.
piece of shit. How dare you be great at everything? And Abigail, my wonderful, beautiful girlfriend,
Who's also a phenomenal artist.
absolutely brilliant. They're both better than me. They really are in every way. So having a conversation with them is always really enlightening. But what I was talking about was the importance of a brand identity inside of the music being the product. So if I'm going to give people my music, I would like for it to be an experience of sorts.
Yeah.
Where you look at the album art and you listen to the music, and not only is it incredibly cohesive, but you're surprised, you're happy. But I realized the entertainment value is the surprise. People love being surprised. It's like a good joke. That's the whole point of a good joke, is you don't know what the punchline is.
Well, that's why people go to see art mainly, I think, for new input.
Yeah.
That's what they want. It's like a joke is a great way to put it, because they're going to lead you somewhere that you don't think you're going.
Exactly.
And then they're going to give you something you weren't expecting, but then you're going to realize how the whole time that you were getting there was you were in the experience already.
Exactly. And what I also kind of realized, speaking of Ari Aster just a moment ago, I watched, I think it was, I don't know if it was a podcast or an interview he did. He talked about making a genre film. And he says you need to walk the line between subverting expectations and also applying the cliches.
Yeah.
The cliches need to be present in order for it to be a genre film. If you listen to any of my songs, they're really simple songs. They're very short, 2.5 minutes. A section, B section, no bridge. The second verse is always the bridge. Chorus out, and now that I've told you this, you're going to notice it, and I have to change everything I do. How dare I give you those secrets, listeners? But
we're clipping that.
No, leave it, man.
No, that's what I mean. We're going to make a clip out of it.
Yeah.
It'll be perfect.
And
wait, that's so interesting. I never thought about that. Your bridges are your second verse.
My bridges are the second verse. I was talking to Marvin. He was the drummer in my band, and he was the reason I started producing, because watching him produce was like watching, a master chef. It was just somebody who knew exactly what to do with what you put in front of them, and it was always done to an exceptionally high caliber. And he really inspired me.
Interesting.
And what I make pop music, essentially. There's hooks and there's moments. They're very short, but they're easy to pay attention to. And not to say it's not that deep, but you're getting everything right away. I mean, you don't have to really search that. You don't have to dig very far down in order to get the idea. But so you'll notice that it's all kind of pop melody. I love pop music. When I was a kid, like even when I was like, I grew up playing like really fucking heavy metal. Like
I can see that.
I grew up playing like Children of Bodom and Dimmu Borgir and like black metal, basically.
Some drop D.
Not even drop D. I would fucking down that shit, dude. Like it was fun, but I also grew up in Miami, and the popular music when I was a kid, when I was, like 11, 12 years old, when I got into middle school, it's when I was really exposed to new facets of musicality. I was certainly culturally isolated when I was a kid. I was all like weaned on a steady diet of dad rock and butt rock, as we call it. And when I first started going to parties, and obviously when you're a kid, you want to fit in as much as possible.
Absolutely.
And I already definitely did not fit in. I look funky, man. I'll show you some pictures. You're like, what? That's you? It's the funniest goddamn thing. Abby calls me Ann.
And
the little pictures of me when I was like a kid. I look like
I have seen a little picture.
I look like a little Jewish girl. It's great.
You had the long hair.
I look like I used to get in taxi cabs with like when we go on trips with my family, my stepdad at the time, and they would turn to my stepfather and be like, "You have a beautiful daughter, sir." And we would all just like, "Oh God!" Like,
no way. That is awesome.
There I am, an 11-year-old boy in the back of the taxi cab, like, "Thank you, sir."
Well, you've grown into a tall, handsome man.
Thank you very much. I'm still a beautiful woman. Somewhere deep down inside me lives a beautiful woman. Her name is Michael Ween, and that's my middle name. My full name is Stone Michael Ween Panunzio. So the joke is that I'm like a Russian nesting doll.
That's one hell of a name.
Yeah,
I'm a Russian nesting
I'm a Russian nesting doll. On the inside, there's a smaller man. His name is Michael Ween, and
that's wait. Will you tell me the whole name again?
Stone Michael Ween Panunzio. That's my full legal name on my ID as well. Here, wait. I'll show you, listeners at home, so you can see this.
Don't show them all the info.
I'll cover my pertinent information there. Oh God,
just hold it near your face.
I don't know if this is possible. Stone Michael Ween Panunzio. If you could zoom in right on that center there. That's also a decent photo of myself.
There we go.
Yeah, you can kind of see it. Long ass fucking name, and I've just always joked about it. It's a long name. So when I was a kid, as I was saying before, a huge part of going to parties with friends, obviously these are like fucking birthday parties when you're 12 years old. It's not like we're going to the club. Although people in Miami were doing that somehow, which is kind of wild. They would play like Black Eyed Peas, and they would play Nicki Minaj and all the big hits of like 2008 when I was 11. And I remember thinking, I hate this, but damn, this is catchy as fuck.
I hate this.
Because I would go home and I would just blast, Megadeth and Slayer. And then I would go out with my friends and they would have no interest in the music that I was liking.
Music.
Yeah, so I remember listening. I think Super Bass was like my guilty pleasure song, and I like loved that fucking song, and I didn't let anybody know that I liked that song. Like Britney Spears, I loved every Britney Spears song, and now
you playing that just.
Dude, that song fucking slaps. And like Toxic by Britney Spears, I think is one of the greatest songs of all fucking time.
I think that got people outside of the industry. By the way,
brilliant.
Let's
yeah.
Drink this.
Yes.
Shout out Element.
Yes.
Thank you for keeping me and everybody on this beautiful podcast hydrated. We appreciate you.
This podcast is brought to you by the fine people at Element. Spelled LMNT.
Stay salty.
Remember, kids, if you fucking hate me, it's because I have so much salt in my veins, thanks to the guys in Element.
Don't suck in the rest of it.
Oh, now I have to. Wait, is it just... It's like doing whippets.
Yeah.
I love it.
Whippets without the drug.
It low-key tastes kind of good.
Oh, I'm still hard.
Looks like I put like an 8-ball in my water.
That's what we do on this podcast. We put 8 balls in our water.
We actually put a little smidgen of cocaine and heroin in these before we started.
If you don't know what an 8 ball is, kids, ask your parents.
Ask your parents. They definitely did them in the 80s.
Let's also smoke a joint.
112%. My name is literally Stone, and it shocks people. I used to smoke a lot of weed. I don't smoke as much weed anymore. I will sometimes now, but...
You got great self-control, though.
Yeah.
Considering I know you like to smoke.
I love it. It's the fuck... I literally, in college, my friends who are huge stoners said that I was the biggest stoner they know. And yeah, it's true. I think one summer, me and my buddy Thomas... Hi, Thomas, if you're watching, I love you.
Good to see you, Tom.
We smoked, a little less than like an eighth a day. We would just sit in my backyard from noon until the sun went down and roll joints. And I had another buddy, Dylan. Hi, Dylan, if you're watching. Dylan is a kid now. And
congrats, Dylan.
Dylan and I would roll joints. I shit you not. I have a picture. I'll find it on my phone. About yay big. And we would smoke the whole thing, just him and I. And we would get
those days.
Blasted. I love weed. I love weed so much I can't really smoke too much of it anymore. Because it's already getting me sick. Yeah. But
a little bit here and there.
The occasional weekend joint is the most wonderful thing.
It makes it... There is something, though, like when you haven't smoked in a while after being a total fucking pothead, which I've only stopped once, so I can't really talk too much. But coming back to it, you're just like, whoa, like this is what I remember it being like when when it was still I was dangerous, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Like
I
obviously
do.
it was never going to hurt you, but dangerous as in like weren't supposed to do it, or like it was something that there was work put into making it happen.
Yeah. You know what I miss? We live in California. For those of you who probably couldn't tell, we are operating out of the City of Angels here in Los Angeles.
They're operating out of.
You know, and the LLC here is the City of Angels LLC. I miss it being illegal. You just said dangerous, and I was like, dude, I miss like my neighbors getting pissed at me. And like one time, me and my friends were outside. We actually weren't smoking weed, but I think one of my friends had like one of those like prehistoric at this time fucking huge rig vapes.
Oh yeah,
The nerdiest, geekiest fucking
a
thing.
mod.
Yeah, the mod.
I used to build those.
It was hilarious. I think those
Absolutely.
exist. I'm sorry, I just referred to something
No.
you used to build as nerdy and geeky.
They were
but
nerdy as nerdy,
I
geeky.
I feel like that's like Legos for preteens.
Yeah.
You know, it's
No,
like I'm not
that's
going to
a
build
really
Legos
good way to
and build
put
a
it.
mod.
Actually,
We sat outside. We need a light for this. We sat outside, and he hit the vape. And I had this one woman who lived on my street. I had a cul-de-sac, so it was just one in, one out, who would always call the cops on us. But it would never matriculate. We were never doing something wrong, or at least we were very good at getting rid
Yeah.
of the evidence prior to the arrival of the officers. But this time, what had happened was my buddy Eric, who was just visiting, and I took a little drive while everyone was in the cul-de-sac. There were probably like 15 of us and like 7 cars in my cul-de-sac, and all my friends were over. And as we're going down the street, 5 cop cars are coming the other way, and I go, oh, fuck, that is definitely for us. 110%. So I turn around. By the time we've gotten to the end of the street, they have lined up all of my friends on their cars,
no way.
lined them all up, and they're like, where are the drugs? And they're freaking out. My friends are all like, what the fuck? So my parents are lawyers, another part of the history. I think at this time my dad might have been in prison. Long story. So my mom was around. And my mom comes out. It's like 11 o'clock at night. She's in the Jewish mom nightgown. And she's like, no, these kids are with me. They're my kids. And the cops don't really understand. They're not really her children. So like, these are all your children? It was the funniest fucking exchange.
No
I think a few of us
way.
were pretty baked. So they weren't wrong. But it was the strangest thing. We had to talk the cops down and basically prevent them from taking us all to prison. But the only people who weren't lined up were me and my buddy Eric. Everybody else was culpable. Me, not so much, I guess. The one named Stone. They didn't think to check me for the drugs. So
Wait, that's so wild. They lined you guys up for weed. I guess that's how it was.
Florida in
I forgot it was Florida
it's like
too.
2013, 2014. I was probably a junior in high school. And yeah, we were sort of the street pariah
Yeah.
in Eastern Shores in North Miami Beach.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah. If anybody's listening back home and it was you that called the cops, I will find you. I know it
Fuck
was you,
you.
Mabel. God damn it, Mabel.
Was it
Fucking-
Mabel?
Fucking bitch.
It
I
was
don't know.
Mabel?
I don't know who's Mabel.
Oh, damn, you should have keep going with it because I believed you. It's good weed.
It's great weed.
Support for This Is an Experiment is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. And Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the exclusive offer for you. That is 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code EXPERIMENT at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 8 million balls.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about before there's 2 more things I want to talk about. One, I will bring up in a second, and it involves being your first song. 2 is your videos. Your videos are such a massive part of what you do. They're some of the most ridiculously well put together videos, especially, but not just including an indie musician who doesn't have a label or big backer or agent or anything like that. Like can you explain how you got to this point where you have that so on lock?
So I am the luckiest, not only artist, just the luckiest person. The people that I have surrounded myself with are truly some of the best at what they do. And they're just fucking fantastic people. One of them being Luis. You met Luis. He was here at Chapat last week. Luis Zavaleta, look him up, Zavaleta Photography. I might be butchering his last name, and if he's definitely going to watch this and be like, that's not how you say my name. It's not what he sounds like either. It was a terrible accent. Him and I started working together when I was in that band, Lithic. And we lived across the street from each other. We both went to Berklee College of Music in Boston, and he is probably the most intelligent man I've ever met in my life. I tell him this all the time. We actually were hanging yesterday. I have to tell you what we bought. I told you I'd tell you what we bought on air, so I'll get to that. But he made the first music video I ever did. Obviously, it wasn't bad because of him. It was just like we had no concept. But when he moved out to LA, he moved here probably a few months before I did, and we were always friendly. But we weren't like tight, but we were very friendly. He's a wonderful guy. But when I moved out here, that band I was in unfortunately ended, and I had sort of made a conscious decision that I'd always been thinking about, the dreaded "I'm going solo" moment.
It's like,
We all got to do that. We all got to do that. But I had the kind of the vision here for the vibe, for the the music is. I don't make like saccharine Disney pop music. It just doesn't happen, and I can't make that stuff. And if someone hired me to do it, I would honestly pass on it. But I can make some fucking killer, somewhat uncomfortable, I don't know, psych rock music. I don't really know what to call it. I call it nightmare pop. And I knew that I needed not just the good video, but I needed a great picture. I needed good headshots. I needed a great logo. I needed a color scheme.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of the Jack White thing with White Stripes, where
Yeah.
if you look, every record has a similar aesthetic.
Yeah.
Obviously, musically, they would evolve, but I love his branding, the same color for everything. We haven't really gotten to that yet, but there is a color. It's just like weird lime green. I love it. And we had sat the band started in July. I got the LLC and I had the name band. I called it band. Pretty Ridiculous is a band, kind of. And I had the idea. I have this guy on my finger, and that was always kind of my personal logo. But since this is my
That's so
personal
badass.
product
Love that.
and my project, I wanted something. Here you go, a little different. We'll definitely continue sparking that up shortly. I wanted to take this and kind of move it because it's very simple. I mean, this is like there's a Nirvana logo like that. There's Jack U, the Skrillex thing, but I really liked it, and I have it literally on my middle finger, and it's just the whole project was kind of a fuck you to the people that I don't think anyone was really convinced I couldn't do it, but I was convinced that other people were convinced I couldn't do it.
That's interesting.
And it was sort of it was mostly a fuck you to, myself, and just say, fucking do it.
Yeah.
Just get it over with and take the leap.
Enough.
Yeah. So him and I would sit and we would just, he had this weird vape that you put a cigarette in and you vape the cigarette.
Oh, I've seen those.
And we would hit that in his apartment in Burbank on top of the Whole Foods and just pound coffees and talk the aesthetic. So when the first song was done, Rumi was actually a remnant of the band. And that was the first real song I didn't really produce that one myself. I worked with Marvin on that, but I wrote the song. I wrote the song. Yeah. I got that line, dancing like a fancy female chupacabra, because I was listening to Radiohead, Weird Fishes, at the beginning of the pandemic. And I don't know if it's Weird Fishes or what's the first 15 Steps. One song, he says something that sounded like fancy female chupacabra, and that's not what he said at all. But that's what I heard, and I was like, I was cooked out of my mind. I was like, that is a cool fucking line. I'm going to just put that down. So I had that riff, the whole song is just that riff. And I would sing the way I would write then. It's very different from how I write now. I would play the riff, sing the melody, and then write the lyrics after I had the melody down. And I had showed him the song. We were really happy about it. And the song was about, I had spoken about my dad just a moment ago. At the beginning of the pandemic, unfortunately, his health declined to it was quite grave. And I'm talking like 3 days before the pandemic, like March 9th, I flew home. And it was just me in the house. And he was in basically a waking coma. He didn't know who I was, didn't know what year it was. And it looked like he was going to die. All the doctors were like, he's fucking done for. So Rumi, I wrote while that was happening. So it was sort of this song of watching somebody in that state due to personal reasons. and somewhat, I guess, self-inflicted. I could say that much on here. I don't want to put you out, Dad. I know you're going to watch this high. And sitting with Luis, I told him the story, and I knew I kind of wanted to. It's almost like the Joker character. It's like if my dad and the Joker were one thing. So he just helped me from the inception to the conception to the execution. Just create this wonderful thing. And after we did the first one, which is all his doing, I think he sent it to me in like 4 days. We filmed it, and then 4 days later, he's like, check this out. He's a fucking madman. I love his work dearly. But all that to say about the music videos, he's helped me do every single one. It's all him and I sitting together and coming up with the plan. We always have a character. You'll know that now, too. You see there's always a different character. And Close Your Eyes, I was the fucking, I don't know, I guess I was the Pope.
It was sick.
I guess I was the Pope. I think I'm going to wear that for Halloween. If you have a Halloween costume, I will show up in the purple Pope outfit.
Oh, you that's yours.
Yeah, no, everything you see, we don't rent. We buy it. Like,
unreal. Damn, you own a lot of crazy shit.
It's very strange. Especially, I'll get to
I'm going to
get to this video that we're doing on Sunday for this next song, Hollywood Lies, which is coming out on Halloween. Again, very intentional.
So exciting.
So what we're doing with this one, I guess this will sort of answer the question as a whole as well, is so the song is kind of about me having, in the last few years I've been here, I've gone to, I guess what you could call a Hollywood party. And a lot of the people that I go to the parties with, or at least who are there as well, I guess we're all sort of compatriots in the party at that moment.
Yeah.
It just seems like it just felt uncomfortable. I think everyone's a little uncomfortable. Well, most of us are artists. We work in the music industry, so I don't think anyone has any malicious intent whatsoever.
Absolutely.
That's never the case. But it was just odd. And that concept sort of became this idea that the city is just the strangest. It's not at all what all of us see in the movies. It's not at all the industry that we expect to walk into.
Yeah.
And I can be somewhat of I don't want to say a contrarian or a pessimist, because neither of those are really true, but I can be pretty curt in my analysis of what's going on, sometimes to a fault, because I might not be right. But having seen what this city does to a lot of people that I've been to these parties with, sometimes you see them and they're all good, and sometimes you see them really not good.
Absolutely.
A lot of drugs in this town as well. And it's just sad. It's sad driving down Hollywood Boulevard and seeing just the gravity of the situation for a lot of people here is really bleak. And it's a kind of a gross city. And it's a little dirty. It's not, you know what I mean?
And it's built on a lot of people stepping over other people to get where they want to go.
Yes. Now, what I love about Your Shabbat is a quick non sequitur. Everyone that goes to that thing is fucking awesome. They're all super chill, and they're really good. Like, all of them are amazing at what they do, and their intentions are pure and wonderful, and they're just really intelligent, smart, hardworking people. But that is not the case for the entirety of LA. Absolutely. So it was sort of the juxtaposition of the most grandiose living situation you could imagine. You have these, mansions, basically castles, estates in the hills, overlooking the depths of poverty and mental illness. That it's a really sad thing to watch. And that juxtaposition it just strikes me with the weirdest.
It's odd.
It's odd. So I wrote a song. That's what that's about. So in this video, I play the character of basically like a sleazy 70s Hollywood producer. I wish I could do the porn stash. Me and Shelby were joking about that today. If I just shaved all this off, but I gotta live with it.
I can get you a razor right now.
Just do it on there.
Just fuck it. We'll do it live.
Fuck it. We'll do it live. I love that so much. And so I got this. I'll tell you about both costumes we got for this video. So there's this place called It's a Wrap in Burbank.
Absolutely.
I love it. I hope It's a Wrap. You should sponsor. This is an experiment.
Trust me, the amount of times, the amount of shit in the studio that has been from there / the amount that I wear on me, we would love your sponsor.
If you are
on
in
Magnolia Boulevard,
do it.
Burbank, California.
If you are in the greater LA area, it's very much worth your time to take a trip down to. It's an experiment. No, this is an experiment. Not to you. I mean, you should come say hi to Bradley. But it's
Tell
a
me you're
wrap.
coming first.
It's an experiment. I just combined the two things. This is a wrap, and it's
This
an
is a
experiment.
wrap.
This is a wrap. That's going to be my Mediterranean restaurant that I open. It's called This is a Wrap. It's just very matter of fact branding. This is a wrap.
You could also just have a company where you end things.
This is a wrap.
This is a wrap.
This is a wrap. I think after this conversation, this interview's a wrap. But
Man.
so I went there and we were looking. The set is this orange, kind of like the couch you're sitting on, very Art Deco,
Yeah.
1970s. Almost kind of looks like it's in Miami. So we got an orange suit. It was like a custom tailored hand. There's no tag on it. It just says hand tailored. That's all it says on the inside. Purple on the inside, orange with like gold accents. It sounds really gaudy, but
Like a pimp suit.
it's kind of a pimp suit. It's really nice. I can't describe it very well, but when you see it in the video, it actually is a very nice suit. So It's a Wrap. I keep calling it It's a Wrap. It's
We'll
a wrap.
take it,
That's what
yeah.
it's called. No,
That's
that's
a
what it's
wrap
called.
now.
No, this is a wrap. That's
This
our
is a wrap.
business.
I couldn't
It's a
remember.
wrap is the thrift store in Burbank. You should go. And we're looking at the suits, and I'm pretty skinny dude. So it's hard to find shit in my size, and just regular, earth tone suits, nothing crazy. And then I look and there's this orange suit, and I'm like, there's no way in hell that thing's gonna fit me. It's not possible. I'm like a
Perfect.
36.
It's
for-
perfect, isn't it?
Dude, it's like a fucking glove. So the retail price on it was $1,200. That's what it said on the tag. $1,200. How much do you think I spent on it?
$12.
A little more, but not much.
$50.
$80. $1,200 suit, brand new.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they were doing 75% off that day, so it was $300, and they took it off. I also got a really nice Jean Varvatos shirt to go underneath it. That was probably like brand new and super expensive, and then it was like $15 that day.
That's so crazy.
I love that place. Get your shit there.
It's pretty much, for people who don't know, it's a place where they get the extras and extra clothes from sets,
Mhm.
and they sell them. And some people use them as costumes. We use them as everyday clothes.
Yeah. These are if you come to Shabbat and you're watching this, I will show up in that. It's just
Oh,
gonna
dude,
happen.
next
I'm having
time,
the pants
absolutely.
100%. Have to do it.
I'll go get something matching.
But that's not jarring. It's nice and it plays this character, but that's not that visually stimulating. I think Close Your Eyes we did the best because it's kind of uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
There's just something about it. It's like, oh,
Awesome.
I don't like this, but I love it. So we got, a gimp suit.
What is a gimp suit?
A gimp suit is like the black latex sex suit. Like,
You got one?
yeah, no, we went to Hustlers of Hollywood. Go to Hustlers of Hollywood for all your adult needs. And we bought it was a women's large latex suit. It's fucking really tight. Now I'm going to do that with these boots. I don't know if you, I know this is a podcast, so I literally looked at the camera.
I'm
and then
just
boots.
picturing you in a
Yeah.
skin tight.
Now that's only part of it. There's also a mask. It's this like black cloth mask, and on it are these gold spiked rind things. Like, and it's the whole
way.
mask. So it's not just part of the mask, like the whole head are these gold spikes. So last night I come back from Hustlers of Hollywood after my rehearsals. I'm playing with a few really great artists out here. I'll shout them out because they're brilliant. XRE and Sugar Pit. Please check them both out.
I haven't heard of XRE yet.
She's
but dude,
fucking killer, dude.
Sugar Pit, you guys introduced me to his music recently, and he's so
He's brilliant.
fucking genius, just so good. Shout out Sugar Pit.
Yeah,
Would love to have you on.
Kian's on another planet. So I had rehearsals with them, but in between those two rehearsals, so rehearsals are in the morning, and then I go to Hustlers of Hollywood. I have the gimp suit
I hope
in
you
my
came back
trunk as I
wearing
go
it.
to the second rehearsal. That's what everyone said. I should have did it, but when I went home,
Dude, you should have worn
Dude.
it here. Could you imagine doing the whole
it's
interview?
just doing the interview like that. This is my new character. It's honestly kind of disturbing.
Has
So
Abby seen you wear it yet?
I put it on last night as a joke, and I was like, wait for me. And I just kicked my door open, and I'm like, how do I look? And I got these boots on, the black latex suit. It is disturbing to look at.
I can't wait to see this. Will you send me a picture?
Of course. I'll put it on, and I'll be like, here you go. And I just have to pray to God I don't leave that photo open while I'm teaching at the school.
Oh my god.
I was like, sorry, kids. But
Not again.
I promise. I had to explain. It's for the art. I promise. It's for the art. It's for the music video. They probably thought we were the strangest. That's probably what they do say. They probably thought we were the strangest couple. We were like walking around.
I can't fucking wait. Oh, we unplugged. We back? We back. Okay. I'm just picturing you fucking wearing the suit. I can't fucking wait to see it. That
It is going to be brilliant. So that's the kind of vibe we're trying to make with these videos. You know, as I said, I really love those Ari Aster films. I like my YouTube homepage is basically like video games and analysis of horror film, not like scenes from the horror films, but like people like going over like this is why the
like analyzing the
like-
actual film and what it
Yeah.
took to get there and why
Yeah.
there's certain emotion conveyed and
Yeah, I have a real soft spot for like the macabre for real, and I've listened to a lot of music out here, and I just, you know, I guess the last person to do it. I mean, there's people that do it, like Rammstein does it, but I'm not really a big fan of their music. And Marilyn Manson did it, but he sucks. And honestly, I'm not a huge fan of his music. But what they nailed was the brand, the identity, and the vibe, and you're just uncomfortable. There's something about it. But most of the people who do that, I just don't like. I don't think the execution on the musical side is up to par in the way that is forever a classic. I guess you could argue The Beautiful People is a classic by Marilyn Manson, but it's also just, but it's not, I don't think it's that good. You know, again, that's very objective, but
I think,
sorry,
I think there's a
subjective.
lot of classics that are classics because of the cult upbringing that it was that brought it to where it is. Just like a fucking TikTok song, they don't blow up always because not sometimes they do, but
Yeah.
they don't always blow up because they're great. Sometimes they blow up because it fits whatever situation is rising with it.
Yeah.
Hence Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, it was so much of that time. I think someone who does do it really well. Excuse me. And their music is fucking fantastic. It's System of a Down.
Fucking love
Where
them.
there's-
From Glendale.
Yeah, they're fucking kill it, dude. They're the best fucking one of the best metal bands or rock bands. I don't really know what to call them because they really defy.
They do their
the
own
label.
thing for sure.
They're fucking brilliant, and that I feel like that encapsulates the LA that I understand very
Yes.
well. That Toxicity record. Funny enough, Hollywood Lies. When I was listening to that, the exact line that inspired that phrase was, "I get my crack, my smack, my bitch right down in Hollywood." In Prison Song. That's exactly the impetus for like, okay, that's what I'm writing about. You know, okay, now I get it. It's perfect.
That's so wild. I haven't even thought about that.
It's exactly where the name Hollywood Lies. I was like, how do I write that song? And then I failed at that, and it came this.
They're
I
so
think a really good take. I was also in the throes of a sickness thing with my stomach that I have.
Yeah.
And I was like, 30 pounds lighter than I am at the moment.
Yeah, you look
That was
healthy.
Thank you very much. It'd be funny if you're like, you all right, bro? No, but I was like gaunt. So that's the opening line. Is I'm down 10 pounds, even with my clothes on. You know,
That's pretty badass.
obviously I was down a lot
goddamn,
more than
dude.
10 pounds. But
Well, it sounds like not only everything happening, but the songs that you've put out as well they've really become a great portrayal of the way you'd like your music to be seen and heard.
yeah,
Heard and seen,
Heard and seen.
whatever way that goes. But I really respect the fluidity of your music, but also this intense, strict cohesion that it brings together. It all feels very much so like Pretty Ridiculous.
thank you very much, man.
And you as a person convey this very well too, because you dress very heavy and rock and roll and badass and have your own thing, but you're also a very down to earth, sweet person where there's
Very
like there's more than just the heaviness, like
Yeah.
like it's all there. Yeah, it's a really fucking great portrayal of who you are as a human.
Thank you. I was saying this last night to Noah and Abby, where the essence of what makes an artist is the fact that it's probably hyper real. Like, you get a Bowie character or a Lady Gaga. They're not dressed like that at the end of the day when they're
Yeah.
getting in bed. My dad always had something he would say. I think it was my dad that said this, but it's a common idiom in some way. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what watch you're wearing, what shoes you got on. it's the motherfucker standing at the end of the bed. You know, he always had the visual of it. That's at the end of the day when you're standing there in your underwear thinking about the shit you've done.
Yeah.
You know, it does not matter. Again, what watch you're wearing. I happen to really like mine. It's quite nice. But, and it really struck me because to be, I think, what's the word? Not a notable artist, but I think just to be an artist in general. Regardless, it's very important that people are using your music to channel something that they want or can understand, but that's beyond the average, layperson. It has to be. Not to say that the people making the music are beyond that, because they're not. They're people. But the product and the brand has to be packaged in a way where it's hyper reality. So the parts of my personality that come out in the music and come out in the videos really never happen in my real life. I'm not that kind of person. I am the most normal, boring dude in the world. Like I play guitar all day. I hang out with my cats. Life's good. I'm a very, very easy person to please. But the perception of me that I wouldn't say it's manufactured because it is exceptionally authentic. It's more of just almost like those are the times where I can go, okay, we'll do this. I can let this happen here and I will film it for you. But it has to be this other thing. That's why it's also not my name. It's not Stone or anything like that. Because then I can occupy a character in some ways. I can step into a role that is not me. I can leave it at any time and I can close the door, sometimes quite literally close the door in the office and step away from it.
Absolutely. There's a difference between wearing a mask and wearing an outfit. What you're doing is wearing an outfit. Wearing a mask is pretending that you are completely different than what is being shown. Wearing it, that was my toe by.
Yeah, no, we were playing footsie there for a second. I was kind of into it.
Wearing a mask is not being able to leave your house without it on, or else somebody might see who you are. Wearing an outfit or wearing a costume is this extension of you, but it's still your face, like it's still your heart. It's still the insides, but you're accentuating it. And I agree. And I think it allows for it to be your personality, but also your dreams all in this one package deal that you can be an accentuated version of yourself and you can do things that maybe real you wouldn't do, but real you's thinking about, that's part of it too. It's like, it's the internal monologue coming to life.
Exactly. One of the things that I kind of did pretty intentionally was name the band, with the word ridiculous in it. Yeah. Isn't it? Just has to be ridiculous. It has to. Not only do I have to kind of hold myself to that standard, but it also gives me the freedom to kind of do whatever I want, even if it's a bad idea or it's alternative to a good idea.
I like that.
You just don't
do a good idea.
You just you can really push your own buttons a little bit and also really kind of fuck with people in just be allowed to, because it's in the name. It's not Mr. Feckless. It's pretty ridiculous.
That's so interesting. You're like set yourself up for success, but set yourself up for to be spontaneous. Yeah. To be in the moment, to do whatever the fuck you want, whenever the fuck you want.
It affords me a tremendous amount of freedom within reason. Obviously, I can't go be a giant fucking dick.
Totally.
But I really don't think I'm going to have that problem because in my personal life, I'm a very
then it would be a
non-confrontation person.
Because that's not you.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, people have shitty days all the time, but it doesn't mean that a shitty day doesn't make you a shitty person.
Yeah, I pray that I've been nice to everybody. I'm sure. Life just happens. Like anybody, yeah. Totally. I'm sure that someone's like, that guy's a fucking giant douchebag, bro.
Well,
and you're right, but
I don't think you are. I've enjoyed you as a human being, you as an artist, you as a guitar player.
I love you, James.
You as a friend. Dude, I love everything you're doing. To everybody out there who's listening, if you're still listening, first of all, thank you for hanging with us. And You're probably by your computer, your phone, so please look up Pretty Ridiculous. Check this guy out. Check out his music. Check out his music videos and tell me they're not fucking magic. I'm excited for you, dude. I'm excited
Thank
for
you, man.
everything you're doing.
Thanks, bro.
I'm
Really.
excited to kick it. I have a new song that'll eventually come out featuring this man on the guitar.
The GC tar,
The GC tar.
the Guitar Center guitar.
It's probably worse. I guess it was your guitar, so it's
It was my
not,
guitar.
not
I
worse.
was like, you say it's really nice.
But yeah, dude, I love you.
I
I'm
love you too,
excited for
man.
everything you're doing. When is the song coming out again?
So Hollywood Lies is dropping October 28th, and then the music video will be out the 31st on Halloween. So that
I can't
I'm
wait.
fucking hyped, dude.
Everybody go stream it up. This will be out before or after. What do we decide?
I think we're saying this is the 26th,
Sweet.
so this will definitely be out if you.
So it's out.
So it's out. You're listening to it at this
Yo,
moment.
go fucking listen. Don't pre-save. You missed the pre-save, or maybe you did the pre-save.
You got maybe 2 days
This is
if it's the 26th.
post-save.
This is the post save. I like that.
Yeah. Wait. This before. After.
It was before, slightly
Okay.
before.
I'm losing it. That joint got me really high. I love you.
I love you too.
I'm
man.
excited to
Thank
do
you.
this again, and again. Go stream it. I love you, people, and to everybody listening.
I'm pretty ridiculous, and this is an experiment.
Yeah, baby. Love you, brother. Bye, everybody. Oh my god, that was fun as fuck.
The experience is the experiment.